continue to complain, wring my hands, or I can do something about it. And I've chosen to do something about it. So I'm running for Congress to restore the federal government to the limits of its constitutional authority. I'm running to preserve individual liberties and states' rights and to preserve our Constitution, and I'm running to stop the march toward socialism and redistribution of wealth. You know, this rampant growth in the size and scope of the federal government is something that a lot of Americans, thankfully, have recently woken up to, I believe. You see the growth of the Tea Party movement and other movements. People have really become aware of that. And in kind of a perverse way, I think we almost owe our president a debt of gratitude for waking us up to what's been going on. Because frankly, it hasn't just recently happened. It's actually been going on for decades, this growth in the size and scope of government. I go back kind of the year 1913. It was a real bad year, I think, for this country. Woodrow Wilson was in the White House. We had the passage of the 16th Amendment, which gave us the income tax. We had the 17th Amendment, which eliminated, which gave us popularly elected senators instead of senators who were appointed and beholden to state legislatures. And so the 17th Amendment, in my opinion, really struck a blow to states' rights. That's something we can get into further at some other time. But then, of course, we had the creation of the Fed, the Federal Reserve, also in 1913. So suddenly you had a federal government that was essentially flush with cash, with the ability to not only tax and to borrow, but then to print money out of thin air when all else failed. And they proceeded to do that. And so we can see kind of since that point how we've had just consistent growth in the size and scope of government far beyond the limits of the constitutional authority, to the point where if you look at all the things our federal government is involved in now and hold it up against the Constitution, you know, the founding fathers have got to be disappointed, and that's putting it mildly. So I actually am in favor of what I call a constitutional litmus test. People say, well, Jeff, how are you going to solve this when you go to Washington? First of all, let me say I can stand up here and tell you that I'm single-handedly going to solve this, okay? It didn't happen. It didn't take just one person to get us the situation. It didn't happen overnight. But we do need to send me and a lot of other like-minded constitutional conservatives to Washington this election, and we can start to make a difference. We can start to slow this massive, this humongous locomotive, this freight train called the federal government, slow it down, and we can start to push it back